announced out for foreseeable future. Do you expect him to come back this season, and is surgery required?
He will be back this year. When? Not soon enough, but he will be back.
Coach, obviously saw Bjugstad out there, and Yamamoto out there today. Are you planning on starting one or both of them tomorrow? Or?
Boogie's not ready yet. Probably a week, 10 days around that. We're starting to narrow a few possibilities, but now he's in the contact drills and stuff like that, so he's getting there. And Yami's time is coming. I think there's a lot of competition up front for us, but I'm looking forward to see Yami play.
Coach, speaking of that competition, there's been a lot of changes on the blue line shifting around because of injuries. Just talk about like how challenging it's been to play to keep a defense cohesive through the first 5 games, to help this team weather the storm as well.
You know, we had already a lot of new guys at the blue line if you compare to last year. So. The big thing is the load management. The big thing is the number of minutes. Everybody take more than they normally were planned to take. So we need to find a better balance. Right now we have a lot of guys outside of their ratio of minutes where they can be at their best potential. Because at the end of the day, who we're missing, what's important is the guy who are in the lineup must play at their full potential. But to play at their full potential, they need to be set up to play at their full potential. And right now, if I'm a guy who's normally should play between 18 and 20 minutes and I play 24, there's a reason why it's tough for me. I make more mistake and it's more demanding for energy and stuff like that. So we need to find a way to get our guys in the better range.
Is there a minute number that you are comfortable with for everybody?
I think everybody's different. You know, I think Sergei take a lot of minutes, but I think it's there's a threshold where it's too many minutes at some point. And I'm not talking about one game. One game, well, I think Keller played 29 minutes one game. So not this year, but in the past. So that was for one game, but that cannot be a few games in a row or stuff like that. So I think we need to find a better balance, and that's a challenge for us.
Any update on Marino's progress?
Yeah. Marino is as well. It's we're talking months.
Yeah. With the sample size of the games and some of the things you noticed in the last couple of games, what's been the focus for time here at home?
Yeah, we work a lot on our tracking and our arrival in our zone. I think we play really solid in our D zone coverage. It's more the chance we give off the rush, where it's not the numbers. We're not giving on man rush, but where our coverage when we come back in our zone has to be better than what it is. We're there, but they still can make plays, so we need to be more stingy, a little bit more aggressive on that.
How critical has McBain been to the second line success?
He's a good player. He's an unsung player. You know, he does a lot of unsung thing people don't talk about, but his physicality, his edge. He play with an edge. Sometimes I chirp him, say he's a grumpy guy. He's a grumpy player. He's not a grumpy in the locker room, but he play always with an edge. He's always mean on the ice, and I think that is keep opponent honest and keep us on the edge as well. He bring us energy, and he can make play with the puck. He's excellent on the PK. He's defend really well, and he's a really good center who's playing on the wing right now. It's a looks we didn't have for years, and we're begging for, and now we have more guys like that, so that'll help.
In Durzi's absence, what went into the decision making of who to call up?
Patrick Koch was their best D at the moment, so that's what went in the decision. He's really physical, skated well, and can defend, so that's what went in the decision. But Bert his time was coming as well. It was time for Bert to have a game, so unfortunate the situation he drew in and because of injury, but either way he will have be called upon. I think he's a good veteran NHL defenseman. He's been around and he can help in the situation we are in.
Coach, obviously, I think two unsung heroes on the defensive end has been Kolyachonok and Kesselring through the first few games as well. Can you just talk about what you like about their game and how critical they've been to keeping this defense where it is right now?
I think Kesselring's been really good. I think Kess has a lot of tools. He needs to keep working on his consistent and the quickness of his decision offensively and defensively. But other than that, he has all the tools. And he played a hell of a game in Anaheim. Played really well as well. Second the game before. So I think we're really happy about him. We saw a good sign last year. He's getting there. Now for him, it's load management, consistency. Keep his head fresh because, like I said, it's all about the quickness of his decision. So when you're tired mentally, sometimes that can suffer. But he's doing really good so far. For Coley has all the tools. He can skate. He has good skill. Again, for him, it's a matter of consistency. Consistency in his decision making, not in his effort. Effort is always there, but he's a young defenseman, and it takes time for a young defenseman to have your read right and to make the right decision at the right time. And he still has to develop on that.
Injury-wise, is Bertuzzo fine after leaving?
Yeah, he's fine. I talked to him on the ice, but he's a kind of old school throwback. I suspect he will not be really honest with me. I was pretty sure he will tell me he's all right. So I will have to go a second layer to make sure he's all right. But he will be all right.
In terms of goals, you guys have scored 20 but allowed 19.
Yep.
Is that a concern that you're?
Yes, it is.
And what do you feel like you need to do in order to fix that?
Well, I think we need to be better in our track, no doubt about it. We need to be better in our coverage on the rush again. I think we're excellent in our D zone. We need to be better with the puck in our zone. I think we need to cut the number of rush again, and we need to stay out of the box as well. We take a lot of penalty, and that create a situation where we wear down some of our players. So we need to stay out of the box.
Obviously losing Durs and then losing Bortz like mid-game is tough. Luckily we got Bortz back. He's good to go, I think, which is great. And then losing Durs for we don't really know what the status is on that, but it's going to be longer rather than shorter. And he's a huge part of this team, so it's going to be really tough to replace him with one guy or replace him in totality. But we're going to have to pick up the slack. Like, just because we lost the guy doesn't mean that we have the green light to lose a bunch of hockey games, right? So we're going to need to pick up the slack. We're going to need to all do what we do in terms of our role in our game, and just be better at it. We're going to have to be better. We're going to need help from the forwards. We're going to need all 6 of our D. We're going to have to start playing really well. So the onus is on us to do our job and win hockey games.
You're one of the more battle-tested defensemen. Just your experience. Do you have a message to the group on maybe how to get through this patch?
I mean, honestly, I think it's pretty much just that. Like, hey, listen, no one needs to go out and be Sean Durzi, but we need to go out and, be the best version of ourselves more consistently, more often, right? So, losing a massive member of our team is never ideal. But, like I said before, it's just because we lost somebody doesn't mean that it's a green light to lose hockey games. So we got to figure out a way to win.
How does recovery change when you're going 28, 29, 30 minutes a game?
Yeah, I mean, it starts to become a lot of minutes. So you try to give everything you have on the ice. You try not to pace yourself out there. You try to make sure that every minute you're playing is hard and high end. And then it's, as soon as that game's over, it's switch flips, it's straight recover, get as much sleep as you can, hydration, whatever you need to do to get there. But that switch needs to flip quickly, and I think we need to be very aware and very mature in how we're approaching off days and how we're approaching days between games and things like that, because we don't want to get ourselves into a position where we're trying to play catch up, right? You got to try to stay ahead of that.
Is it difficult not to pace yourself when you know that that's a potential that you're going to be playing those heavy minutes?
Well, I mean, I don't think we can. You can't afford to just say, I'm going to take this shift off, or I'm not gonna play D zone this shift, right? I mean, that's one of the things where pucks usually end up in the back of your net. Guys like Sergey have played a lot of minutes for a lot of years, and he's probably able to manage it very well at this point. But there's never a time when you're able to throw it on cruise control out there, because everyone on the other team's trying to embarrass you, especially as a D-man, right? So you got to make sure you're not taking any minutes off or any seconds off for that matter.
Have you talked to Jersey and just like what's his relationship or an injured guy's relationship with the room when they're out for an extended period of time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what that relationship's going to look like. I know it can. I've been pretty fortunate not to miss a ton of time in my career with injuries, but that being said, I know it does get pretty lonely, right? You feel like you're not really part of the team. You feel like you're not really, part of the family. So, he came in today. We talked today for a while, and it's great to see him. I know he's pretty bummed right now, but as teammates, it's our job to make sure he's involved and at the rink and coming to games and hanging out with the fellas as much as he can, because if we're going to get to where we want to get to in April and hopefully May and hopefully June. In terms of playoff hockey, like that's our goal. If we're going to get there, like he's going to be back. So he's going to have to, whatever that timeline looks like, and I don't know what it looks like, but he will be back at some point. So it's our job to make sure that we elongate the season enough to get him back, right? So.